Our few more dignitaries are yet to come, so you can sit till then. Green is not just a color, it's a commitment. A commitment to cherish nature that lasts. Namaste and very good morning to the dignitaries, esteemed speakers, participant institutions, respected faculties, and dear students. It is my privilege to welcome you all to the 10th edition of Green Fashion India Conference 2025. On behalf of MKSS's School of Fashion Technology, Pune, I, Mallika, GFI Coordinator, welcome you all to the Conference 2025. This 10th edition of Green Fashion India Conference is powered by Clothing Manufacturers Association of India, CMAI, and Yojak, Center for Research and Strategic Planning for Sustainable Development. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very excited to announce that the Green Fashion India Conference 2025 is streaming live on our official YouTube channel. We are very pleased to welcome our virtual attendees joining us from across the world. Your presence today reflects a shared commitment to sustainable fashion and greener future. Please don't forget to like, share, and engage on our official social media, Soft Pune. Let's spread the message of green fashion far and wide. We are truly honored to have with us our esteemed dignitaries. I would like to invite them on the stage. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Manjuji Hundekar, Secretary Green Fashion India and Director Development Cell MKSSS. Dr. Garimaji Bhalla, Steering Committee Member, Green Fashion India and Principal Soft Pune. We are also pleased to extend a warm welcome to the esteemed Executive Committee members of Green Fashion India and our esteemed speaker for today's seminars. Please welcome Shri Rahulji Bhajekar, Executive Committee member GFI and MD Global Standards, and Mr. Benjamin Itter, Executive Committee member GFI, CEO Lebensch Kleidung, and Senior Product Consultant Dudes Factory, Germany. A very warm welcome and heartfelt welcome to all of you. We are also very excited to share that several distinguished speakers will be joining us later today. These industry experts will bring invaluable insights and will be sharing their expertise on sustainability, innovation, and the future of green fashion. To mark the auspicious beginning of the 10th edition of Green Fashion India, we invite our esteemed dignitaries to join us for the traditional lamp lighting ceremony. I request all the speakers also to join for the lamp lighting. Just as this flame dispels darkness, may our exchange and collaborations today pave the way for a more sustainable and ethical fashion industry. Thank you, everyone. As a key highlight of this conference and to set an inspiring tone of the Green Fashion India conference, the day will feature a series of motivating seminars led by esteemed industry experts bringing insights from the fashion world. The day is also filled with the most challenging and most intriguing design competitions as students from more than 8 institutions participate in the most challenging sustainable competitions based on green and sustainable fashion. We are very pleased to express that today almost 130 students from 8 different institutes across India are here to participate in more than 9 competitions designed to invoke the sustainable quotient in our young minds. But before we delve deeper, I would like to invite Dr. Garimaji Bhalla for the opening remarks and extending the welcome.
Thank you, Malika. Good morning to all our esteemed guests, industry experts, thought leaders, and passionate advocates of sustainable fashion. It is with great honor and enthusiasm I welcome you to the 10th Green Fashion India Conference, themed Fashion Vitality, Nurturing the Health of the Fashion Ecosystem. Today, we gather not just as professionals, but as custodians of an industry that shapes cultures, influences society, and impacts the planet. Fashion is more than just style, it is a living, breathing ecosystem that thrives when nurtured with innovation, responsibility, and sustainability. As we stand at a pivotal moment in our industry, it is imperative that we redefine fashion's future ensuring it is not just creative and dynamic, but also ethical, regenerative, and resilient. During this conference, we will explore new ideas, pioneering solutions, and transformative approaches that uphold the vitality of fashion. We will hear from visionary leaders, engage in meaningful dialogues, and collectively work towards a healthier, more responsible fashion ecosystem. I encourage each of you to actively participate, exchange thoughts, and spark new collaborations. Let this conference be a space where we don't just discuss change, but ignite it. Once again, welcome to the 10th Green Fashion India Conference. Let's embark on this journey together toward a more sustainable, innovative, and vibrant future of fashion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your gracious welcome. As we gather here, we embark on a transformative journey exploring the profound concept of fashion vitality, the theme that aims to ensure the fashion ecosystem's long-term well-being through sustainability, ethical practices, and innovative solutions. To hear more on the conference theme, may I please invite Dr. Manjuji Hundekar to elaborate on the conference theme, Fashion Vitality.
Thank you, Mallika. Esteemed members on the dais, faculties from various institutes, students from various institutes. Before I explain the theme, I would like to mention that let us understand the structure of Green Fashion India. I think this is very unique structure of India, and that has completed a journey of almost maybe 15 years. In the year 2009, we started, conceptualization, or maybe the concept of sustainability was just started that time. And we thought that, we have to understand what our Indian fashion is. We have to project it through our creations in the most meaningful way and responsible way. That time we were not, we were not having that kind of realization that what people are going to take this in the form of sustainability in future. And now today when we see there are so many stakeholders. We start with our advisory board, where we have India's most renowned personalities who have contributed to the industry development, like Rahul Mehta, like Naresh Tyagi, and many as our advisory board members. If we talk about our executive board members, we have Rahul Bhajakar sir, Benjamin Itter, then we have two more, that is Hemang Agarwal and Meher Castellino, who are also very renowned professionals practicing sustainability. Sustainability is what we feel, especially in fashion, is related to environment. But there is much more beyond that which is involved in sustainability. We talk about at the peak we have social sustainability. Society has got different ecosystems. Different ecosystems has an impact on environment. So how responsible we should be to support to the economy, to support to the environment is all what about social sustainability. And this is what, we have our executive committee, we have advisory board, we have our steering committee who have been contributing to this to develop new concepts or to identify, what is the need of sustainability promotion and in what way we can help the industry. So all the stakeholders in this framework, they all are professionals, but they all are professionals striving hard to promote sustainability in the society. So when we talk about all these things, it is not that we are having a session or lecture on sustainability. It is much more beyond that. We think, fashion is a relationship, or, fashion portray the creator's creation and maybe the wearer's expectations and the relationship between, as in the form of aesthetics. It is not merely related to aesthetics. It is beyond aesthetics that we have to understand. It is a responsibility of creator also and a wearer also. And that is why, if you will see that our concentration is also on consumers. We all here are first consumers. We all here are first consumer, and I don't know whether we realize our responsibility as a consumer first to select what we have to be, to nurture our ecosystems especially, and to protect our environment. So I think that sense of responsibility is very important. Though we have seen, very positive impact. When we started in 2011, people were skeptical and they were having a lot of questions that Indian industry, I don't think so, they will be able to talk about also sustainability. We realized that we have immense potential than the rest of the world, because rest of the world is looking at us for sustainable resources, for maybe, like sustainable practices. Our own industry is taking effort to project sustainability in the right way, having or going for different certifications. And when we talk about that, we are not just having the glamorous titles such as, my collection is conscious and responsible, but our industry is also struggling to have the real projection in terms of, authenticity by taking certifications. Though there are, developments are going on, and there are going to be a lot of give and takes, and people with their own mentalities and psychologies, they are going to react in a different way. But we as a fashion fraternity, we should have some responsible approach. So we always used to feel that for so long, we always used to see that fashion is the most polluting industry. Who made it polluting? We ourselves. But do we have a realization that we used to have such beautiful and such strong sustainable practices as our own heritage? Have we really exploited those? Unfortunately, people exploited those for the benefits related to finances or maybe monetary benefits. And there we could see that lot of our heritage is getting exploited in a different way because there are no certifications. There is no, maybe, responsible approach that if I am going to select some kind of textile which I want to sew, this is my heritage textile, do I really see that the fabric has the characteristics and it is authentic? So this approach is also getting diluted. Rather, this was the most important vitality aspect of fashion. So where are we? What are we going to do? How we are going to practice sustainability? It is not that, that we are creating creations and then sustainability has to be an integral part of it. So in what way? We feel that it is going to be a very big challenge. I don't see that. In every aspect, we can incorporate small things, and that is why to have that approach of, we being maybe, responsible personalities who are maybe in future, who are actually into it and who are in future going to be the professionals. We should understand the vitality, the energy of fashion. And then only, that energy we have to take it in a right way to the society. And that is why the main theme of our conference is Fashion Vitality, where we are going to nurture the ecosystems of our society and especially fashion businesses. We see that there are specific sections that we have handloom, handicraft, and then maybe, khadi. And with that, if we see that we have maybe, social interventions which are taking place at government level, at NGO level, or maybe, like at personal levels. So these social interventions and these things are definitely contributing in a positive way. Where we have to control, where we have to understand the right and wrong is also very important. So the sessions will groom you to have a thorough understanding of all these things. At the same time, if we see, we have to understand what industry is. Industry, when we talk about industry, there are two things which are important: product, process. So of course, manpower or producer is also equally important. But when the product and process is channelized towards sustainability, we are going to see the big change in the society, big change in the sustainability, maybe, a platform, or maybe big change in the environmental impact also. Now, considering this, what is it that we have to consider? So, does it, do we need to understand that what is the role of certifications, how the product and processor or processes needs to have some certain kind of compliances which we have to understand. So here, with the industry, process and product, we have the connectivity of certifications, because role of certifications is vital. Now, again, everything, if we are going to fall under the category of creator, what the consumer needs, how the consumer should become more informed and assertive to select the right thing, which is supportive to the environment, which is supportive for the future generations to have, resources for themselves. This is very important for all of us. I think it is not the theme which is important that, we articulate something very, give glamorous titles and all. I think this is the understanding of what we need to do in future, how we need to focus our efforts, how we need to focus our energy, focus our own potentials and capacities. I think this is the beautiful maybe platform where you all will be showcasing your talent, and you are going to have a focus of sustainability with that. We have Dr. Anjali Karolia with us, who have been our executive committee member, supporting us in and out for so long and has contributed to our GFI for a very long. So, ma'am, welcome. Yes, we have, of course, we are waiting for few people, because I think few people are traveling from Nagpur and they have just reached, so few must have come. So I'm really happy that everyone from different places have come. I respect your responsibility and your approach, that for all such important event, you have come all the way, and you are going to give the importance to this. These 3 days are going to be very important for us, but it is going to be a small, maybe cumulative action. There are many more actions and interactions which are expected after this. And with this, I request Mallika to come over. I once again extend my sincere thanks to all the stakeholders, including advisories, executive committee members and steering committee members. Of course, now, earlier I used to be the principal. Now our leadership is gone to Dr. Garima Bhalla, and she is the most capable person we see, who is going to take this challenge of sustainability ahead in the most meaningful way. Of course, our team is equally ready to support her in this endeavor. So with this, I wish all of us the best of luck to make this event most effective and most impactful. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Your words have truly set the stage for the meaningful discussion for the GFI conference. Thank you once again. Before we proceed, into the conference mode, it is essential to acknowledge the esteemed institutions and organizations that have been at the forefront of empowering education and fostering creative excellence in the domain of green fashion. The Maharshi Karve Stri Shikshan Sanstha, with its unwavering dedication and the incredible vision of Bharat Ratna Maharshi Dhondo Keshav Karve, laid the foundation of this 128 years old Sanstha. Known for illuminating the lives of countless children, widows, and women for their empowerment through education, with more than 70 plus institutions, a ceaseless mission for which the Sanstha has been recognized globally and is now a beacon of women's education in India and abroad. As a part of MKSS's prestigious legacy, the School of Fashion Technology was founded to cater to women's empowerment through design education. SOFT is one of the most prestigious institutes catering to the ever-changing landscapes of the fashion industry for the last 28 years. It has also been ranked as one of India's top 10 best fashion institutes. SOFT has also made its mark globally by achieving prestigious and commendable standings at national and international design competitions, research symposiums, and conferences. Ladies and gentlemen, Green Fashion India, an initiative by MKSSS and SOFT, has been at the forefront to promote sustainable and green strategies in the fashion industry since its inception. Through research, collaboration, and actionable frameworks, GFI continues to pave the way for a responsible and thriving fashion ecosystems. We are deeply honored to have the backing of pioneering organizations as collaborators that share our commitment of green fashion. Among them, the Clothing Manufacturers Association of India, CMAI, is one of the most influential bodies representing the apparel industry in India. For over 60 years, the CMAI has been instrumental in shaping the growth and development of the garment sector, connecting industry stakeholders. And our next collaborating organization, Yojak, a center for research and strategic planning for sustainable development, was established to surround development and to take concrete steps towards sustainable development through scientific methods. Yojak operates pan-India and is dedicated to its mission for fostering sustainable development. Yojak has extended its support to SOFT for its exceptional initiative of Green Fashion India by providing the esteemed opportunity to host the prestigious C20 event under G20 Summit. We are truly grateful to all our esteemed associating institutes for their invaluable support and collaborations. Ladies and gentlemen, moving ahead, it's a moment to introduce our esteemed speakers for the day, who have been actively working towards sustainable innovation and ethical practices in the fashion and textile industry. Please welcome our first speaker of the day, Shri Rahulji Bhajekar. With decades of rich experience, Sir has played a pivotal role in shaping global textile standards. Currently, serving as the Director of Global Standards Development and Quality Assurance at the renowned Global Organic Textile Standards, GOTS. Sir has been instrumental in promoting sustainable and ethical practices in the industry with expertise in quality control, ecological testing, and chemical restrictions, which has made a significant impact on the textile sector worldwide. Sir, we are truly honored to have you with us today. I would like to request Dr. Manjuji Hundekar to acknowledge Sir with our token of respect. Thank you so much. Up next, we are glad to welcome all the way from Germany, Mr. Benjamin Itter, a passionate advocate for sustainability in the textile industry and the co-founder of Lebenskleidung, a Berlin-based company specializing in certified organic fabrics. Witnessing the environmental and social impact of the textile industry, Benjamin founded Lebenskleidung to make sustainable fabrics more accessible to designers and businesses. As an active speaker at global conferences, he continues to drive conversations on ethical and responsible fashion. We are very glad to have him here today to share his invaluable insights. I would like to request Dr. Garimaji Bhalla to do the honors of felicitating Benjamin. As we move forward, following the vote of thanks and the conclusion of the inaugural ceremony, we will begin with the much awaited keynote sessions. So I would like to invite Dr. Yogesh Bokil, GFI coordinator, to present vote of thanks.
Good morning. It is my privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this special occasion. On behalf of the organizing team, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who contributed to the success of today's event. First and foremost, I sincerely appreciate our esteemed management of MKSSS for their unwavering support of everything we do. We extend our gratitude to the President of GFI, Architect Ms. Mohana Kadam, for her backing and believing us. I would like to extend my special thanks to the speakers and juries, Mr. Rahul Bhazekar, Mr. Benjamin Itter, Mr. Rajesh Manerikar, Mr. Yogesh Gaikwad, and Mr. Ashish Kasawa, and Dr. Anjali Karolia for sharing their invaluable insights and expertise. I sincerely thank Dr. Manju Hundekar, Secretary GFI and Director Development Cell MKSSS for briefing us on the conference objectives and vision. And to Dr. Garima Bhalla, Steering Committee Member of GFI and Principal SOPT Pune for giving us the opportunity to give us our best and inspiring us. A special thanks to CMAI and Yojak for their continuous support and commitment to promoting knowledge exchange and innovation through Green Fashion India with their collaboration. I would also like to thank all the partnering and participating institutes, heads of the departments, faculty members, and students for their enthusiasm and active involvement. Your presence made this conference truly meaningful. A heartfelt acknowledgement to our GFI coordinators, myself, Dr. Yogesh Bokil, Mr. Satyajit Zogrekar, and Ms. Malika, and volunteers whose dedication and seamless coordination ensured the smooth execution of this event. A special mention to our administrative and support staff who worked tirelessly behind the scenes, ensuring every detail was taken care of. Your efforts are truly appreciated. Our heartfelt gratitude to the host of the event, Ms. Malika, GFI coordinator. Lastly, to each and every one of the present here today, thank you for your time, engagement, and valuable contributions. This event would not have been the same without you. With this, I hope to look forward to continued collaboration and many more such enriching experiences in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sustainability is not just a trend, it is the future of fashion. As we conclude this inaugural ceremony, let us carry forward the vision of Green Fashion India, where innovation meets responsibility and style embraces sustainability. Remember that the change begins with us, and together we can weave a greener, more conscious tomorrow. With this note, I thank all of you for being the part of this exceptional initiative of Green Fashion India Conference 2025. Please stay tuned as we will begin the expert sessions in few minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, young ladies and old men. It's wonderful to be here. Always happy to be with the Maharshi Karve Stri Shikshan Sanstha. Bharat Ratna Dhondo Keshav Karve was a contemporary of my great grandfather. They actually worked together, and one of the first institutions he started was based on discussions that they had together. Old time memories, so therefore I'm always happy to be with SOFT. I'm not going to talk too much about details. I'm going to give you a little primer on what is sustainability. So how many of you have heard this word before today? By the way, I'm going to ask you questions. You need to answer. This is not a one-way traffic. Everybody has. So what do you mean by sustainability? Anyone? What do you understand of sustainability? Nothing? No embarrassment? No answer is wrong, by the way. Nobody's getting negative marks. This is not an examination. Any volunteers? Yes. Wonderful. So recycling, upcycling of fabrics, whatever else you can, to reuse. Excellent. Good choice. Not a wrong answer. As I said, there are no wrong answers. But that's not it. Yeah, there's much more. And that's what we're going to try and do. So from sunrise to sunset, we are surrounded by some things very interesting. They're called chemicals. From the time you wake up in the morning and brush your teeth, chemicals. What did you think that toothpaste was? I'm not talking about the plastic brush. From time you get ready, everything around you are chemicals. Even when you go to work. Maybe this is not your car, it's not mine either, it's a nice picture. That's why I put it up. Thank you very much. Chemicals. Familiar with many of these? Chemicals. There's a blanket. There is a baby, yes. That's my niece's daughter. First day. She is now 4 years old, so it's a 4-year-old picture. When you go to sleep, you're still surrounded by chemicals. All those colors. You eat something. You have chemicals around you. And most of these chemicals are synthetic. They're man-made. And quite interestingly, they're not that old. How old do you think are synthetic chemicals? When did we human beings discover synthetic chemicals? That toothpaste, when I was growing up, that is not the toothpaste we had. And I'm not that old. I'm old, but not that old. But how old do you think are synthetic chemicals? Anyone? Wild guess. 90 years, I heard. Years. 18th century is interesting. Everything is 18th century, right? No. What's that? $14 million years ago, it all started with a big bang. The earth is how old? About 4.6 billion years is the solar system. Life first appeared about 450 million years ago. Human beings have been around for 1.8 million years only. Not very much in terms of time. Animals have lived with nature for a fairly long time. So did human beings. Again, for a fairly long time. Until we did one thing. We found out crude oil and how to distill it. So distillation of crude oil created the first chemical building blocks. These are today all pervasive. 1856 is when Sir William Henry Perkin discovered the first synthetic dye. He discovered it by mistake, called Movine. That's William Henry Perkin. Today you'll hear from Yogesh Gaikwad. He's from the Society of Dyers and Colorists, a society that was formed in his memory. Because he was British, so is the Society of Dyers and Colorists. William Henry Perkin. As I said, by complete accident. And this is supposed to be the genesis. So anybody who said close to 150 years ago, that's how old are synthetic chemicals. It's not that long. Human beings, 1.8 million years. This is only 164 years. Little longer, this is a slightly old slide. So today, as I said, they're everywhere. From pesticides to pharmaceuticals, coatings, adhesives, polymers, the list is endless. How many of you don't have a mobile phone? What a question. Synthetics, right? They're everywhere. But they improve your lifestyle. What they did was, they improved our life. They weren't all to waste. They were discovered, they were used. What did they do? Take a look at the population of the earth. In the 1700s, 1 billion people. What's happened now? Well, 2024, 8 billion, give or take. Maybe 7.5, I don't know. But might go up to 9 billion by 48. We have grown 4 times in a number of human beings since 1927. How long ago was that? Again, not too long. Really not too that long. But supported by chemicals, not only did our population increase, but our life expectancy has also gone up. Just look at this graph. Africa is still among the lowest life expectancies, but it's still close to 65, 70 years. So we are living longer. We have better access to chemicals. And we have a century of population explosion. We have resources that are being exploited. And what has it got for us? All of this. The top right is actually Pune. We have pollution everywhere. We are exploiting resources as if we have no tomorrow. Climate change is real. How many of you think it doesn't matter? Well, you're too young. You don't know what kind of climate was there when I was growing up. I used to come to Pune for every holiday because I had a house in Pune. Well, the family and my grandparents lived in Pune. We wore sweaters during Diwali, and that used to be in October, sometimes September. Didn't take them off till perhaps end of February, early March, sweaters. Today I sweat. Well, I don't sweat here much. I sweat much more in Mumbai. What was the temperature yesterday in Mumbai? Do you know? 38 degrees. What the hell is happening? We're just end of March. I mean, not even end of March, end of February, more like it. Something is wrong. Yeah, but climate change is real. So we have an environmental crisis. I don't think there's any doubt about that. We have industrialization, rapid, rampant. We have pollutants. We have something called as greenhouse gases. What is a greenhouse gas? Do you know what a greenhouse gas is? How many of you heard of greenhouses? You have. So what is a greenhouse and what are greenhouse gases? Wonderful. So, sorry, you can go on if you want to. Sorry to cut you off, but absolutely perfect in the sense that they cause the earth to become a greenhouse. A greenhouse is where you grow plants, vegetables, where you shouldn't be growing them, in an environment, in a climate that is suitable to the plant but not outside. Which means a greenhouse is a specified environment to grow plants and vegetables. It's usually hot. It's usually moist. So these greenhouse gases are making our lives, the whole earth, like a greenhouse. And that's why they're called greenhouse gases. Some of them are listed in blue below. Yeah. Carbon dioxide is okay, methane, maybe nitrous oxide, ha ha ha. Chlorofluorocarbons, yeah, too complicated. Let's not go there. But here are some greenhouse gases. And the greenhouse effect really causes a problem all over the world. It's not just limited to one place. Yeah? I had the answer about ozone layer. Fantastic. That's one of the shields that the earth had. Is being eaten away by these gases. And therefore, we don't have a shield now, or it's reduced. This is what happens. Wildfires, rain when there's no rain or not supposed to be any rain. Temperatures, I just told you what happened, what's the temperature in Mumbai. So we have problems. It's very clear, and there's a unanimous verdict, that environmental problems are all man-made. And that we are all living unsustainably. Definition of sustainable was there, but let's expand it a little bit more. So in 2022, do you know that the United Nations has declared a healthy environment as a human right? You're expected as a human being to have a healthy environment. This was a declaration by the UN General Assembly. So you have the right to have the right environment. I don't want to do too much, but just think about what they call as a crisis. Climate change, nature and biodiversity loss, pollution and waste. Biodiversity. What's biodiversity? Sustainability, as I told you, has no one meaning. Biodiversity is another interesting term. You can all Google it and find out what it means, but essentially it is nature. Everything around you is part of the biodiversity of that place. And biodiversity loss means you're losing some of the natural living things that you're expected to have, or you had in the past. So you're losing something. Everything that you lose, there is a slight problem, except weight. Right? No? Okay. How many of you have heard of this interesting documentary? If you haven't, please watch it. An Inconvenient Truth. It's available on YouTube. It's by an ex-US vice president. It's worth watching. It just talks about what the problem with the earth is. Question. No answer. I don't know. My children asked me. Well, I have one child. He asked me. But let's move on to something better. Europe. That's where all the innovation in chemicals came from. In the early 1900s, chemicals were discovered, eventually invented, synthesized, and innovated in Europe. And that's where I come to Ben's best known secret, the River Rhine. How many have heard of this river? Some people have, wonderful. But I'll tell you what it is. It's quite nice. It has lovely castles called schlosses around, along its banks. And it is one of the main waterways of Europe. It starts off in the Swiss Alps, comes up through Germany, crosses into the Netherlands, and eventually goes into the channel there. But what is so special about this river? At a place called Basel in Switzerland, on one side of the river, there was a company called Ciba. Have you heard of Ciba? Again, you're too young, right? How many of you have heard of Binaca? No? Too old. Binaca Geetmala? No. Amruta, you're young enough, but we're not talking to you. Thank you. It was a radio show. You know what a radio is? Thank you. Thank God. It was a radio show from Radio Ceylon. In India, we didn't have good radio stations. You see, that's why we had to tune into Ceylon. Sri Lanka, as it's called today. So Radio Sri Lanka had a Hindi film music program every week, which had top of the pops, so to speak, a ranking system. It was called Binaca Geetmala. Yeah? And Binaca was a toothpaste manufactured by the company Ciba. Eventually it became Cibaca. Anyway, so this is the company called Ciba, Ciba-Geigy. Yeah, Basel. Opposite, just across the river, a company called Sandoz. Anybody heard of calcium Sandoz? Thank you. That's one of the products of that company, Sandoz. BASF, Ludwigshafen. What's BASF about? Again, maybe before your time. Have you ever seen a cassette tape? Oh my God, thank you so much. The cassette tape was actually invented. The coating on the cassette tape was a product from BASF, so chemicals. Hext does not exist anymore, but in Frankfurt. Okay, on the river Main. Nothing to do with the Rhine, but the Main goes and dumps itself into the Rhine. And Bayer, Leverkusen. Anybody heard of Bayer? You have. What is the best product that Bayer has? There are two, by the way. One was a strong favorite of all Hindi cinema, and the second one was something that you all probably have used. 100%. you've used it. So what is Bollywood's favorite suicide ingredient? Baygon. You know, pesticide Baygon? Buy it. Thank you. That's not why they made that Baygon, but it was supposed to be a pesticide for cockroaches. If people eat it, what can you do? The other one was aspirin. Everybody had aspirin in their lives. Invention of Bayer. So what is so great about these 5 companies? They are chemical giants, and they were on one river. When I say giants, just Bayer was half of the size of the old Pune city. You used to get into one gate, took you 20 minutes to come out of the next gate. That's how big it was. It was a town by itself, and the whole thing was a chemical company. They did every damn thing under the sun. Any chemical that was made by one of these 5 companies. So what happened to this river, do you think? Chemical companies have some effluent. Thank you very much. Nobody could eat fish from that river for a long, long, long time. Maybe Ben remembers. But it was because of this pollution that they also started to clean it up. So today, Europe is at the forefront of cleaning up the mess that was created by their companies because they found it bit them hard. So this started way back in the 1980s. So what followed because of all of this pollution was simple cleanup. As people, you and I, consumers, started to see the river go to a waste, they started to ask questions. Why aren't you doing something about it? They expected their governments to do this. And therefore, you had regulations on consumer safety, product safety, worker safety. The retailers got involved. Brands and retailers started saying, I'll give you a cleaner product. Why? Because the customer wanted a cleaner product. You had every single brand and retailer with environmental policies. Obviously, Europe started it, but it didn't stay in Europe. It spread around the world. So why are we so interested in all of this? So first of all, we are a global village. We are no longer isolated. Europe is there, but something happens here. They want something, you have to deliver because they don't make their own clothes anymore. You do for them. So if they want something, you will have to follow that law or requirement. And quite likely, not quite likely, it's very clear that what affects them also affects us. Because if we are today manufacturing using those same chemicals, the same products, what is happening to our waterways? Do we have the same safeguards here? So if today you want to stay in your own niche, you can stay there. But you're not going to grow. If you want to grow, you have to know what the world wants. And therefore, we all need to be aware of what sustainability is. So as I said, the biggest brands and retailers acted. They were pushed by consumer awareness. As I told you, people said, what are you going to do? Competition. One guy said, I'm giving you something clean. Well, the next store cannot say mine is dirty. So they had to be, I want to be clean. Or somebody will say, I'm cleaner. Then somebody will say, I'm cleanest. It's competition. Everybody wants to be better than the other one. And plus there was legislation. Regulations came into this. NGOs and green people started to get involved. And once these people start to get involved, what happens? It becomes a business necessity. So if you want to produce something for the world or even for yourself, you need to be sustainable.
and you have farmers, 60 lakh farmers in India approximately working directly in the cotton industry. So how many of you, when you look down at you, how many of you are wearing cotton at the moment? Piece of cotton, raise your hand. Who's wearing cotton consciously? And how many of you know where the cotton is coming from that you are wearing? You know? Two people. 2 people know where, 3 people, 4 people know where the cotton is coming from. Wonderful. So, speaking about cotton and material that we are wearing, we speak about something that can make a difference and is highly political in a way as well. We see the malls, we see the fashion, we see the gliss, the shiny things, but everything we wear worldwide is made of something. Unfortunately today, approximately 64% of, Rahul was showing it, of all the 150 million tons of fibers are made of polyester and fossil-based, but the next is cotton. And millions of people are dependent on this particular fiber today. And cotton is not cotton in the end. So Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi was the first revolutionary figure in the world who made clothing and the production of a particular piece of cotton political. There's none else in the world I can think of. And this is Khadi. And we speak a little bit about Khadi, and when we see Khadi and what he and the Khadi movement did back in the days, we can interpret this and see a lot of things today in the age of consumption as well. Because he was, you could say, a forefather of slow fashion and ethical fashion, with all due respect, right? And who knows the story? All of you? All of you know the story of Mahatma Gandhi and the women who came to him and said, please, my son is eating too much sugar, tell him he should not eat sugar, you are an authority. Do you all know that story? Yes, what did he do? Huh? After 2 weeks. I can't tell them after I stop, right? So many times we are in these conferences and we are talking big talks, but what do we do, right? And this is about integrity. What do we change? And obviously we need legislation, we need rules and regulations like we saw in the chemical industry, and even more, because if we know something harms us, we shouldn't have it, at least not on our skin, despite on baby skin. He was luring you in with a lot of babies, by the way, so sweetness factor was there, but seriously, it's about integrity. So before we speak about something that others should change, we should be silent and look down on us first and think about, where's the stuff coming from that I'm wearing? Where's the cotton coming from? And we can ask this question, like you saw, to each and every company also, to the Zaras, to the H&Ms, to all the other ones, right? So speaking about cotton and the supply chain is a very, very deep thing if you really dive into it. A cotton plant needs 1 year until you can harvest it, right? So cotton is growing in many regions in the world. And cotton, who knows the myth? Cotton uses a lot of water. You heard that? So much water for a t-shirt, right? So much. But where's the water coming from? There it begins to differ already. Because most of the organic cotton in the world is rain-fed. Is it bad when the cotton is using a lot of rainwater? Maybe not. But if you pump it up and you compete in Pune or in other places, obviously there's no cotton here, but in Nagpur and Maharashtra, very dry, and you compete groundwater versus irrigation water, then we have a problem, right? So this is just one aspect of it. Then what is the average size of a cotton field in India? You know that? Any idea? Average 1.5 acre. How much is that? 122.5 meter, 122.5 meter. This way, this way. Maybe 2 times this 3 times this room. Average farmer. And these 6 million people who grow cotton in India, they earn per month, depending on how they do it, where they do it, between 7,000, 20,000 rupees if they're good, but they also have input costs, seeds, fertilizers and stuff. So they work very hard every year, every day on the field for something that we then wear, if we wear it. So how many people of you like sales in the malls? Sales? Are you a big fan when there's a sale somewhere? You love sales, right? So why is there a sale? Because they want to make money, right? Why is there a sale? Get rid of stocks, overproduction, produce so much that they didn't sell it. Next season is pushing, right? So you have to sell it, get rid of it. At least they sell it, because if you look in the newspapers, H&M and others, they burn it. Google it. Google burning clothes, H&M, Google burning clothes. They burn it. So the cotton farmer in India is working 1 year on his field, hard. Every day he gets up, has to feed his family. Same in Uganda, same in other parts. Then the stuff is going, is spinning, ginning, spinning, weaving, dyeing, wet processing, all these things. Garmenting, under which conditions, we don't know. I'm just speaking about the beginning of supply chain cotton. And then they burn it. What is this? And this is the linear fashion world we are living in today. Producing stuff, overproducing stuff, and in the age of consumption, and then we burn it. How sarcastic is that? What a waste is that? What a slap into the face of those who under hard labor do these things, right? And that's what we are talking about when we talk about sustainability in fashion and slow fashion. Where is my stuff done, under which circumstances? And this is connection, not conceptualization. This is you, connecting to the very beginning of this, to the material, to some farmer somewhere. And then we can speak about integrity, and then we can speak about khadi. And then we speak about you. Because if you don't change things or ask questions, or at least try, and nobody's perfect, we all know that, it's not about that. But if you don't ask questions in the field or where you're working in the future, nobody does, right? So that doesn't mean you have to be picture perfect, but just think about it. Think about the material that you're working with, where is it coming from? So they put him in prison here, right? And this man had so much power, he was even weaving, he was even spinning the chakra here in prison as a sign and symbol of resistance. Resistance against the Britishers who exploited this country so hard, which you can read everywhere. Just Shashi Tharoor wrote this Era of Darkness, beautiful book, but you know everywhere. And textiles was a vital part of that. And then we speak about dependencies also. We speak about dependencies from entities which are external sometimes. And then we come to terms like Swaraj, Swadeshi. You know better how to pronounce them, but I studied them a bit, and Gandhi worried more about the ethical question of how things were produced than where they were produced. So it's universal when we think about textile production, how they are made. You can make, coming back to my childhood, we had a thriving textile industry in Germany. But then globalization washed it away, and they came then to other places because no regulations, cheap labor, and so on and so on. They misused these corporations, big scale. And the question is how things are produced more than where they are produced, right? So, and he said this wonderful thing even in 1924, I'm convinced that Swaraj, self-rule, cannot come so long as the tens of millions of our brothers and sisters do not take to the charkha, do not spin, do not make khadi and wear it. And this is extremely political also in terms of not being dependent in your age of consumption. You are bombarded with advertisements, subconsciously, consciously. I mean, we all are bombarded constantly. Stories, buy this, that, and so on, right? But are you free when you do that? Are you free when you're running to the mall again and again and again? No, you should, of course, do whatever you like and go buy clothes. But if you buy it, then at least know who made it, under which conditions. This is so important. And this can be some craft people. This can be a corporation who cares, like this brand, for example. There are many, many brands who are doing good work today. When we started this Green Fashion India, 12, 11, 15 years back, there was nearly nothing. Today you have choice, which is great, or you can even have your own startup, you found your own brand, and tell the stories of the people behind it. Like, tell the stories, who made my clothes, who made my stuff, who produced the material. And there are many beautiful materials. It's not limited to anything, right? So, Khadi was like a symbol, and today you see, interestingly, I mean, we cannot think that we are going somewhere and spin our own clothes, right? I mean, it won't happen. But we 3D print our stuff very soon. 3D printing is happening in your own home. And in 10 years, I guarantee you, when your buckle of a backpack is breaking, you don't go anywhere or order it on Amazon. You maybe 3D print it on your own at home. So this is also self-rule, right? Or you print your stuff, maybe you print your clothes, who knows? In Los Angeles, there are micro factories. In Germany, we have one in Berlin now. You have these things in Tokyo sometimes, and they will be here as well, I'm very sure. This is production on demand, because the sale is obviously also waste of resources, waste of money, but you will produce the stuff that you only need. And then think circular, that you have material that you can keep in the circle. And then consumption and growth is also okay, right? So if you have a vision, you can keep all the material in the flow. Circularity is also like a fact today in many ways. You can reuse this carpet again and again and again. It's not just recycle and downcycle. Keep things circular. Circularity, in your time as a fashion designer, you will stumble upon this very often. So, rethinking Khadi and the concept as a role model for the industry, as an approach to sustainable living and sustainable clothing, makes absolute sense, according to me. And just draw the lines. And also, you could say, yeah, Swaraj and these things, they're exclusive because they're against something. No, we should see them positive of something inclusive, right? People say nationalism is also like, it's so bad. But the nation is also nothing, you give value to it, right? A nation is a container that we fill with the values we want. We fill with rules and regulations. So we should not think it as, oh yeah, we do the thing and keep everything out. That's not it. Let's be positive, let's flourish and say India, with all the crafts, for example, you have so much to offer to the world. Not adapt, not copy. This same, you go to Barcelona, same, you go to Tokyo, same, you go to Mumbai, same, you go to Berlin, same. How boring is that? I sell fabrics, many fabrics, to small to medium designers. They make, out of one black fabric, they make wonderful things. That's creativity, right? It's not creative to have 1 million pieces of the same Zara jeans and we all look like robots. I find this quite boring, to be honest, and I have no idea of fashion. So, just find it boring. So, this is the political cloth of 2025. Has been of 2024, 2023 already. There's a movement out there also of people who ask, who made my clothes, how is it made, and so on. And this journey we have taken so far in all these years has shown so much things have changed to the better. So don't be overwhelmed and be frustrated when you hear all these things. So much has changed before you thought about this even. We have been a long way. Think about the River Rhine that Rahul was showing. You couldn't swim in there. Today people are swimming in there. It's pretty dangerous, but you can. They can eat the fish from there. So it's possible. Things change. And especially in the Indian scenario, don't look out and think, oh yeah, we are so bad and stuff. No, it takes time. Change takes time. I read the other day about the forests in India, that the first time, again by millions of acres, the forest area was growing. Do we see this news? We always think, oh, we are cutting everything, right? No, it was growing. Wildlife is there. People know how to protect things. Clean Ganga initiative is there. So many initiatives are there also, and it takes time. But your generation, next generation, they know. Because you are like globally connected. You know what's going on. You don't want these rivers. You don't want the waste everywhere. But you are living in interlapping times in a society. The old is still there. Think about this president in USA. This is the very old. These concepts are outdated, but it's there, so we have to cope with it, right? And it also has its existence right, because people are like that. But we will all be gone in 100 years. How will the society look then? Maybe some people will still be there, but most will be gone, I would say, right? So, change is possible, and be optimistic about it. And sustain means to maintain, to uphold, to avoid, to cause irreversible damage to what we have. And each and every of you can make a small difference. We have boundaries. Maybe we had 1 or 2 sessions called planetary boundaries. Google it up, planetary boundaries, combined with sustainability goals. We can only have as much acidification in the ocean as until it is gone. We can only have as much air pollution until it's not breathable. We can only pollute as much fresh water until we can't drink it anymore. So we have boundaries, and these boundaries in fashion, we touch many of them. Coming back to the cotton farmer, from farm to fashion, many things we can do right, but many things we can do wrong. And try to make as many right as possible in this regard. So we need a better balance, because you cannot come across some people. We work with the Chetna Organic Project, for example, in Odisha, in Maharashtra also. They are tribal people, so for them it's important to have an income first, right? So you don't come there and say, "Yeah, please be sustainable." It's a concept, right? So they need income. So social sustainability is also important. That those who make our clothes can live from it, that the price is right, and so on and so on. And then economic, environmental, they go hand in hand. The 3P, planet, profit, and people, they have to go together. Otherwise it makes no sense. Only profit, not good. Same if you only eat dal every day, not good. Monoculture, not good. Diversity, good. That's how it is. Biodiversity is needed in this particular cotton field. When you spray everything with pesticides, there is no insect living. When you've been to an organic cotton field, it's a joy. You see butterflies and stuff without romanticizing it, but these people, first and foremost, they grow their own food. Problem solved. And then they add, and then they earn money on top for the small scale people. Right? So, clothing industry, yes, very polluting industry. The numbers also, sometimes they say second, sometimes they don't say second, doesn't matter. We produce a lot. 8 billion people. What we have in common, all of us wearing stuff. New stuff. And then in US, I think people wear their clothes 8 times, throw it away. In Europe, 25, 30, depends like on the figures. I don't have an actual figure in India, but it's going down. We always need new stuff. So, India is a powerhouse of cotton, and unfortunately in the conventional cotton, a lot of chemicals are being used. You just look this up. I don't want to bore you with too many facts, but just connect It's your people. And they're here. How many of you have been to a cotton field? Okay, front row, they have an advantage in age, with all due respect. But how many of the students? Quite some, right? I asked this question in the course, so some people have relatives or family working in cotton. But you are in fashion, so next time I want to see all the hands up. Because if you work with cotton and 200 kilometers away there's a cotton field, and I'm flying 10,000 kilometers to have visited this, but you didn't, there's something wrong. So please, or we have to do an excursion with your faculty or something like that. Visit a cotton field, talk to the farmers, understand how it is done. Might be boring after 2 days, but it's interesting at the beginning. It's a beautiful plant. So, and as back in the days when you speak about the Britishers and dependencies, in cotton you can go back to the wealth of America built on the back of slaves, is also true, right? And with the invention of the ginning machine, it was even more crude, like all the work. But today you also have dependencies, and I'm an advocate of decentralization, of corporations and so on, because you have seed companies. And how much of the cotton in India is GMO? 99% today. And the government understood that there are dependencies to external companies. They are having their own seeds and stuff like that. So who's ever interested in that, check it out also. And there's not one cotton plant, I also want to say. There are many varieties. We sell color-grown cotton from Peru, from Americas. It's brown cotton, you have desi cotton, you have kala cotton, kala, not color, but in Gujarat. So there are many varieties of cotton also. So this is not just one plant, right? And this is also interesting. So whoever likes to work in projects or stuff, dive into that also. It's interesting to see the old varieties. And we should not the same, not uniform everything, right? So we saw that, dyeing, finishing, wet processing. Also here there are a lot of innovations happening, which is great. Just touching that shortly, but obviously inevitably also, these things land in our bodies. They are not like separate from us. If we have harsh chemicals, they will inevitably land in our bodies. In our skin, in our organs. Not nice. We saw that before, and it's like, enough is there. We have so many resources. We have so much possibilities and education that we can change this system. And fast fashion, like we heard, is ignoring the needs, because 52 micro seasons, like it's happening, is causing a lot of stress on the environment, stress on the system, but also stress on the garment workers, because they have to be in time constantly, mass production, quick, cheap, out, with all the madness of transportation from A to B. There we are back also in decentralization. Why? Export is good, of course, we all want to grow, but why do we ship cotton from US to Bangladesh for spinning, to India for weaving, then to Malaysia for garmenting? That's madness, and these things are happening. And again, coming back, where is your stuff coming from? Ask these questions to your favorite brands. And if you find a local brand, like you find many, and you know the people who make this stuff, it's a much better thing and a much better feeling also, right? So, and this whole thing has exploded. And I would not have thought that when I began this journey, that today the ones I was blaming 10 years back, like the Primarks and stuff, that they are the good guys. Because the Chinese are going completely bonkers these days with Shein and Temu and stuff. They ship directly from the factory, and we made tests in Germany, the TV station, like out of 50 products, 40 were highly contaminated, just entering our shores. Again, speaking about children, entering the skin, but also ours. And this is toxic for all of us, and we shouldn't accept it. So, and this was just growing and growing and growing. The average person buys 60% more items of clothing, keeps them about half as long as 15 years ago. Because this demand is pushed onto us. Buy, 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 buy. Right? Keep it. Repair it. It's fine. If there's a stain, put a patch on it that you cannot get out. Reuse it. Vintage, yes, is there. It's a big business. Like, I went to Tokyo like 3 months back. It's huge. All the vintage clothing, but also in our shores. But it's cool to have some old clothes. Just wash them properly and fine. There's so much stuff circling around. We don't need new. And it's individual as well. It's very individual if you put your wardrobe together differently than what you see in the shiny, glizzy catalogs. So, big business. And people know. And then, what I also always ask, who is Mrs. or Mr. H&M? Who is that? Who is Zara? Is it a nice old woman sitting somewhere in Spain? Mrs. Zara? So, fashion is a commodity today. Who's owning these companies? Also a question. Nothing against ownership, nothing against scale and growth. But if it is anonymous financial institutions that are only merely there to make money by cutting labor rights, by cutting costs in terms of dyeing, finishing, whatever, then we should speak out against it. Simple as that. We shouldn't accept that. Right? So you see this mountain and the rise of fast fashion, which happens here as well. So please check this out, called Fashion Revolution. I urge you to join this Fashion Revolution movement. Each country has country coordinators. There's a huge resource of knowledge. You find a lot of studies, you find lovely videos, you find instructions to do your own things, to take action as students, as citizens, as professionals. fashionrevolution.org. Sad event, but it's in April. It is in remembrance of the tragic Rana Plaza disaster, which happened in Bangladesh, where the factory collapsed. And each year, in remembrance to that, people say, who made my clothes? Where is it coming from? And so on. Now it's even a Fashion Revolution week. So please join that and look it up. Yes. And Swadeshi today, buy local, buy good, buy sustainable, buy less, produce fair, produce local, produce sustainable. It's very simple in the end to make this difference. And then you can say, these brands don't tell me where it's coming from and stuff. Okay, then don't buy it. Simple, very simple. And this is so valid today as well, you know. How many millions of garment workers are out there? Mainly women, by the way. You're mainly women here. It's mainly women driving this industry. And mainly women also facing exploitation. Still, there's this Sumangali scheme in South. Still, these things are happening, unfortunately. But it's everywhere. It's mainly women. And women keep this society up. They work also in the cotton fields. They work also in the farms. With their husbands, they raise the children and so on. So it's also an issue of feminism, if you say so. And of empowering women in this industry to speak up against malpractices in solidarity. So, yes, calling all fashion revolutionaries. And it can be a very little revolution you're doing. You don't need to go out and destroy things. You can just make a little revolution in your wardrobe by buying and consuming and producing, maybe, when you do fashion, the way that is correct. Vivienne Westwood, I worked together with a good friend. She was a head designer of Vivienne Westwood for many years. And she was one of the early advocates showing that you can survive in this mad fashion circus, but still producing in a way that is fair and ethical. And she was having a lot of integrity. And it's not so long ago, she passed away. But she is an idol for all of us in this regard. And as we saw, or as we talked before, this isn't also free, because someone if it's so cheap, is paying the price. As I mentioned, from farm to fashion, so many processes take place. Ask this question, who made my clothes? Join this from south to west, from north to east, all over the world. Many, many people have made a change, and I urge you to also join this and be the change of tomorrow together. Thanks so much. And yeah, he said don't go to Instagram, but you can follow us on Instagram. Thank you.
Indian philosophy and ideology. Your expertise and commitment to the field has given us a deeper understanding of the impact and potential in shaping a greener future. So thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, with these enriching sessions, we will now take the lunch break. And before we move on to the next set of insightful discussions, few instructions for all of you. Post lunch, we will be having students' competitions happening on second and third floor. Our core team of GFI will assist you in that. The next seminars will be conducted simultaneously in 3 different locations. The seminar with Dr. Manerikar will happen in room number 405. The seminar with Mr. Yogesh Gaikwad will happen in the lab 304. And the seminar with Ashish Kaswa sir will happen right here at the seminar hall. All of you are requested to be here sharp at 2 o'clock. It is going to be a quick lunch, so see you all there. Thank you so much.